Great. So we are cruising right along here. We have our last speaker for this session, Alexa Chavez. Alexa Chavez currently serves as a policy associate with Californians Against Waste and as secretary on the California Latinx Capital Association Foundation Board. Her current work at CAW involves working on recycling and plastics legislation, including advocacy for passage of the California Recycling and Plastic Pollution Act, which Californians will see on the November 2022 ballot. So please join me in welcoming Alexa.
Hello, everyone. I have a lot of information to throw at you, so questions towards the end, but I'll be presenting on the California Recycling and Plastic Pollution Reduction Act. My name is Alexandrina Chavez, and I'm the Policy Associate with Californians Against Waste. So a little bit of CAW, our mission is to protect communities by eliminating the pollution inherent in the extraction and disposal of natural resources. And we believe in preventing waste at the source and holding producers accountable. So as you'll see, this ballot measure is something that we're very excited about. So the California Recycling and Plastic Pollution Reduction Act was certified in the summer of 2021 and will appear on the November 22 ballot. That is 8 months away. And for a little context on this ballot measure, there's really two things that brought it into fruition, that being the issue of plastic pollution. Plastic pollution is on the rise, and I know that talking about the issues of recycling and plastic pollution is kind of preaching to the choir here, but it's something that needs to be addressed, right? Right now, about 200 Olympic-sized swimming pools of plastics is disposed into landfills daily by Californians. That's about 12,000 tons that's going into landfills. And this issue needs to be addressed. Secondly, we've realized that people care, right? Private polling done from January 2020 to November 2021 shows that people would vote yes on this type of ballot measure, right? Based on the title and summary. And we're seeing percentages of potential yes votes ranging from 61% to 71%. And to pass a ballot measure like this, you need just majorities. So that is 50% plus 1, right? So it's way above the threshold. And when we're specifically asking voters about the issue of marine debris and whether or not they think that this is an issue in their local coastal area, we're also seeing that people strongly believe that this is an issue. Just on the responses of people that thought that this was a big issue, that's 65, 70, and 62%. So we definitely have the votes and the support of voters to pass something like this. And so with that, we have a choice, right? And it's a choice that's just beyond plastic pollution, right? California's continued investment in recycling has created about 125,000 jobs. And that's something that we can invest in as well. It goes into people's health, right? The environment, our waterways, and we have a choice to do something about that. So in summary, what this ballot measure does is it would reduce the amount of single-use plastics sold in California and ensure that the remaining is truly recyclable and compostable, as well as assessing a fee on producers to help fund the state's recycling and composting infrastructure. And a big part of this is allowing CalRecycle to implement some regulations. And these regulations really help with reducing single use and making sure that the plastics that are left in California are recyclable and compostable and really helping our infrastructure. A lot of these regulations as well is just kind of pushing California in that type of unity, right? A lot of local governments in California have already passed styrofoam bans, right? And right now we're in Berkeley. Berkeley was the first to ban styrofoam back in 1988. So these are steps that have been done mostly in other parts of California, and it really allows California to unify and take these steps forward in a very sufficient way. Another really big win, in my opinion, about this ballot measure is that we would be assessing a fee onto plastic producers of up to 1 cent per item or component of packaging based on net cost of recycling. The best way to kind of explain this is, to give the example of a Capri Sun. There's the plastic sleeve on the plastic straw that's attached to the plastic pouch, all of which cannot be recycled. So that is 3 cents of plastic that would be charged, right, per each Capri Sun that is produced. So this type of fee is estimated to generate around $1 to $2 billion annually. And that is a really big win for recycling and composting infrastructure, right? As well as all the efforts that California is already pouring money into to mitigate plastic pollution issues. So 30% would be going to the Natural Resources Agency, and that's for restoration and protection of waterways and ecosystems, as well as funding for parks. 20% would be going to CalRecycle, and that's for investing in recycling and composting and even regenerative farming practices. And 20% would be going to local government, and that's for improving local recycling and composting programs, as well as protecting local drinking water and education. And this part's really great because 1383 implementation could use some funding, right? And this type of annual funding can really help these kinds of efforts. And here's just some examples of the types of things that this fund can support, right? We have keeping our parks and oceans clean, as well as building more compost and recycling facilities. I know that there's some parts of California where the recycling facility to population ratio is not sustainable and impacts those recycling centers a lot. So we're looking at funding that can help support them, or as well as creating more recycling centers, but really supporting our recycling and composting infrastructures, as well as making it possible for farmers to grow more nutritious food with less pesticides. So the possibilities are kind of endless with this funding, right? And this funding is a big win because most of the time, right, when we're seeing budget cuts in California, a lot of the times parks are cut, recycling is never thought of. These are issues that we have to constantly battle to be funded in the legislature. So right now with our campaign, we collected signatures from June 2020 to July 2020, and we're currently continuing to grow coalition, build grassroots support, and raise funds because, again, it is coming up in 8 months. And so with that, there are ways that you can support with endorsements. You know, you can urge your local electeds, local governments, or local businesses to endorse. And this is important to show voters that we're unified in this. This is something that we want, and this is great for the future of California. You can help us with momentum as well. That's helping us on social media, spread the word, and also supporting current legislation in California that, you know, looks just like this ballot measure and kind of has the same efforts that we're looking for, right? And my colleague Nicole will be presenting on all that type of legislation that we're going to be seeing this year, as well as with your capacity and resources, whether that means, you know, building a coalition in your local area, spreading the word, educating people, but most importantly, donations to this campaign would be great, right? Opposition has endless money because they're making money off of producing plastics, and they will spend money to try to avoid these fees that would hold them accountable, right? So donations, endorsements by y'all would be very great. And these are some of our supporters right now. It's a lot of environmental organizations, some really great ones that have been helping us are groups like the Nature Conservancy and Oceana, and you can join this list. So down below is the website. There you can endorse, you can donate. There's 2 QR codes. One is for Californians Against Waste. That's to all of our social media, to our website, as well as this website. And if you'd specifically like to contact me, you can email me, LinkedIn, as well as the CAW website in this one. And if you don't feel like pulling out a QR code, my email is alexa@caw.org. No, alexa@cawrecycles.org. Sorry, but yes, thanks.
We are just cruising through here. Do we have questions for Alexa? How about in front? I don't see where our microphone. Oh yeah. Okay, so way in front.
Hey, Jack again. I'm wondering, is this tax going to be levied on any producer in, will it only be levied on producers in California, or will it be levied on any producer that sells their product in the state?
Honestly, I could probably get back to you about that through email. I know Kella Rose is here. She's a big helper of the ballot measure. Or Nicole, my colleague Nicole, can also answer that question.
So a lot of laws passed in California that have to do with like labeling requirements or bring cost onto the producer are applying to products that are sold within the state. So for example, if you sold a product on Amazon, if you were to buy it in the state, if that product was single-use plastic packaging, then that fee would be put on the producer. And so that would be just the producers that make the products within the state and those products sold within the state.
Thanks, Nicole.
Let's see how about someone from over here? Yeah, way over here. Gonna make you get your workout in.
Can you talk a little bit about how the plastic will actually be reduced? Because my concern is that there's just another 1 cent tax put on these products that nobody's going to notice. And I just wondered if you could talk a little bit how that reduction is going to occur. Thank you.
I think that a lot of that will be addressed with the regulations that CalRecycle will be kind of empowered to implement, right, with the styrofoam ban, as well as things like requiring that vendors reduce the amount of single-use like foodware and packaging by 2023. So it gives that kind of leeway for restaurants and people that sell to kind of make that change. In terms of the fee, that's kind of pushing producers to at least try to move towards using plastics or, like materials that can be recycled or composted to avoid that fee. And that's kind of the efforts and goals of this ballot measure.
And from our virtual audience, any questions?
Yes, we have a question from Mary Lou and Dan. Who manages this EPR money?
EPR money. So it's divided into those three it's divided in those three ways. It'd be Natural Resources Agency, CalRecycle, and then 20% would be going to local government. And that's kind of at their discretion, but with those types of efforts and intent.
Do we have any other questions from our virtual audience? Maybe one more? Not at this time? All right, how about from our live audience? Thank you.
So with the local government, the 20%, is that going to a special fund for local government or is it going into the general fund for local governments and counties?
I don't know exactly the specifics about that, so I could definitely get your contact and talk to you about that after. Sorry.
Great. Thank you very much, Alexa.